Greetings, my fellow psychopaths.
Don't get no closer, or I'll blow you all to kingdom come.
Gather around, because I'm about to recount one of the most soul-crushing experiences known to mankind. Going on a date inside a shopping mall. Back then I was still a naive little gremlin, convinced that romance could exist in this oversized slaughterhouse. Hours of my life evaporated as she wandered from store to store, trying on clothes with the efficiency of a Windows Vista update.
Oh, no, no.
I waited, I suffered, I transcended time itself. Eventually, my brain shut down and I fell asleep mid-suffering, only to be blessed with a dream where the mall was overrun by zombies. Finally, something worth living for. I was swinging pipes, kicking zombies, living my best fantasy. Until she woke me up. And her first words were, "Let's go to another store." That moment broke me. I realized I could either continue this ritual humiliation, or I could unlock my inner Sigma. So, I faked a medical crisis, told her I scratched my elbow and somehow developed testicular cancer. I ditched the date, sprinted home, and used the dress money to buy the remastered Dead Rising instead. She never spoke to me again, and frankly, that's a skill issue on her part. As the ancient Rising rule number 215 states, a man who ditches will get. Dead Rising isn't just a game to me. It's a foundational scripture. It's the rotten, blood-soaked Bible that first hooked me on zombie games. But here's the tragedy. I'm stuck playing the remastered version.
You're a mole. I'm right. Aren't I? You are nothing but a filthy animal!
Look how they massacred my boy.
Which is literally unplayable. Why? Because the developers, those soulless corporate cavemen, removed the erotic photography. Damn you Capcom, why must you destroy art? You play as Frank West,
Frank West. Remember that name, because the whole world's gonna know it in 3 days.
a freelance journalist who's covered wars.
Covered wars, you know.
He said it! He said it!
His dream is to break into Willamette, Colorado, after the government slams a blockade around the city.
What was that? The army?
Realistically, if this happened in the United States, the government would be getting booed harder than Donald Trump is by
I need water! Help me! I need water! Help!
CNN, Fox, BuzzFeed interns, every outlet on earth would storm the blockade just to write some hit piece about failed leadership. But in Dead Rising, Frank is somehow the only journalist who thinks to investigate a place.
You're one hell of a journalist, aren't you, Frank?
And then it gets better. How does Frank bypass the blockade? By helicopter. Yes, a chopper. He just casually flies over an area that should be lit up by radar, Patriot missiles, and soldiers with enough hardware to atomize a small country. But apparently, in Capcom's United States, the US military is staffed entirely by blind, deaf mall cops who missed the one helicopter buzzing right over their heads. But then, plot convenience strikes again. The National Guard, who have been collectively napping up until now, suddenly decide Frank is a problem and send military helicopters to intercept him. Now, in real life, this is where the story ends. Frank gets Swiss cheesed by 30mm autocannons and his remains are scattered across Colorado. But that would ruin the narrative, so instead the helicopters just politely follow him, like they're giving him a personal escort service to the roof. Frank finally hops out and stumbles into his first non-infected survivor. Do we get a name, backstory, anything useful? Instead, we get a guy whose outfit suggests he's Mexican, which immediately implies the real reason he's in this zombie mall is not survival, not family, but hiding from ICE agents. Frank strolls straight into the security room, which conveniently has a front row seat to the apocalypse. On the monitors, yet another innocent bystander is being ripped apart by zombies in glorious 480p resolution. But don't worry, right next to this carnage are lockers, where you can pay an additional $15 for outfits you'll never use.
Dude, I wanna jerk off! I wanna jerk off! Look at this!
Then we reach the entrance plaza, a place where survivors have barricaded themselves with all the structural integrity of a wet cardboard box.
Let's go.
And what does Frank do upon seeing this? He starts checking out the Latina across the room. Truly, Frank West has his priorities calibrated.
This is no time to ogle pretty girls, son.
This doesn't sit well with the old man nearby, who sees Frank's wandering eyes and immediately gets jealous, clearly defensive of his kitten.
I am. Uh-oh.
So he sends Frank on a mission to find more barricade supplies. Yeah, right. We all know what kind of man this is. That's not a request, it's a test of dominance.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, kitten. I like my kitten a little. Stinky wink.
While out scavenging, Frank spots yet another old man on the other side of the barrier, who is clearly insane. Naturally, Frank does the most irrational thing. He pulls out his camera and snaps a photo, not to help him, not to intervene, but to warn humanity that this man is crazy. Stay away.
What the?
And then an old woman, previously mourning her lost dog, suddenly spots the mat on the other side of the barricade, surrounded by dozens of zombies. She then decides the best course of action is to unlock the doors, destroy the barricades, and run headfirst into her death. Not only does she manage to overpower two fully grown men in the process, but she also dooms every single survivor in the room. Everyone dies, obviously. The mall is now officially compromised. Frank barely crawls back into the security room. But surprise, this time there are 3 other people inside. Don't ask where they were earlier.
Where are the others?
One of them, a woman, conveniently recognizes the crazy old man Frank photographed. But instead of telling us anything useful, she decides to be cryptic because plot. Since the mall is now a walking buffet, the only safe way in or out is through the air
Those
ducts,
things aren't smart enough to use the ducts.
which dumps Frank onto a tiny rooftop. Here we get our first side scoop, escort duty. This one is insultingly easy. Lead fat man to fat woman, reunite them in true Walmart romance, and guide them back through the ducts. Done. But don't get comfortable. Future side scoops crank the difficulty from babysitting to enhanced traversal techniques. Escorting survivors in Dead Rising is the equivalent of CIA torture techniques. Remember Brad, the black guy? Turns out he's in trouble, and because our boy Frank has the emotional stability of a wet sponge, he decides to help.
Give me your gun. Come on. I'm the reason you just got hurt. Let me help.
This is also when the game decides to hand you the keys to the kingdom. You can now wander around the mall doing whatever degeneracy your heart desires. Wanna take glamour shots of zombies eating people? Go ahead. Wanna strip down to your underwear and fight the undead with a lawnmower? Please do. But here's the kicker. The game has a time limit. If you decide to spend too long wandering around with toy lightsabers and ketchup bottles instead of doing your actual job, the main storyline will fail. So, let's say you've gotten tired of slapping zombies to death with a salmon, like you're auditioning for Gordon Ramsay's cooking show.
What with before? It is chicken.
You can head over to the food court, where Brad is currently in a life-or-death gunfight with the very first survivor Frank met in the mall. And guess what? It's a Mexican guy, with more bullets than brain cells, which confirms my theory that he's trying to dodge ICE agents. This is also your very first boss fight. Winning it is easy. Just flank him, shoot while hiding behind cover, and after unloading about 20 rounds into his ribcage, he decides to retreat. Where to? Presumably Mexico. Now here's the reward. You can find a magazine that makes guns slightly less useless. Don't expect miracles, but if your build is anything like mine, which is shoot everything that moves, ask questions never like a true patriot, it'll come in handy. After this, Brad revealed that he and Jesse are working for Homeland Security, which is the same agency Bush cooked up after 9/11, so Uncle Sam could fight domestic terrorism. Which means the Mexican we just fought is probably working for Osama bin Laden. Turns out Homeland Security is hunting down some old man Frank spotted earlier. So off we go to track him down. And just to save us all the suspense, yes, Dead Rising is absolutely drowning in escort missions. Yes, they are awful. And yes, even the remaster couldn't save them from being hot garbage. The old man in question is Dr. Barnaby, and immediately he pulls the classic "no thanks, I don't want government help" routine. Which is hilarious, because if I were there, persuasion would involve a lead pipe and a gentle nudge down the escalator. But Frank's too much of a good boy to break an old man's legs. Shame. Missed opportunity. Anyway, instead of making progress, we get stuck doing side scoops. These reward you with XP, which unlocks new combat moves, most of which are about as useful as giving a Roomba a sword. But hey, it's content.
Yep. I'm jacking off to that.
Back in the security room, Frank agrees to give Barnaby a ride on his chopper 3 days from now.
At noon, it's my ride.
Because Frank's a journalist, he wants juicy secrets in return. Brad, being a government spook, basically says, later champ, maybe. Translation, you're not getting answers anytime soon. So you're free to waste the next 6 hours however you want. Smart players go straight to the gun shop. Problem, the guy who owns it is named Cletus, and he has opinions about private property. Mainly, his opinion is trespassers will be ventilated.
Situation like this, I can't afford to trust nobody.
So Frank does the American thing and settles the dispute with bullets. Now, to make this review special, I'm ranking every psychopath based on realism and how insane they've gone, starting with Cletus. Cletus is your stereotypical gun store survivalist. When Frank finds him, he's already paranoid, already drinking, and already screaming at strangers. In other words, Florida man energy. His setup makes sense. He's trapped, he's drunk, and he's got enough weapons to start a small civil war. That's not insanity, that's just Tuesday at Walmart. He's more drunk uncle with too many opinions than psychotic freak. Honestly, Cletus is one of the more believable psychos.
Come on now. What are you, crazy? You want guns so bad that y'all are willing to kill for them? Let me go.
Hey.
Please.
Hey, wait!
No.
Defeating him opens up the arsenal. Handguns, shotguns, and rifles. Suddenly, you don't have to fight psychopaths with traffic cones and lawnmowers. Truly revolutionary. But the fun doesn't stop there, because if you wander into Leisure Park at night, 3 escaped prisoners roll up in a stolen jeep with a mounted 50 cal. They immediately fail to cap you, so they decide to gun down random civilians instead.
All right. Looks like we found our next contestant.
We're gonna take out that dude and snatch his old lady.
Their backstory is simple. Prisoners escaped during the outbreak. Now they're free, deranged, and killing people for sport. Realistic? No. Criminals would probably escape, yes. Probably loot, yes. But cruising in circles for days blasting civilians? That's not realism. That's the devs wanted a Mad Max reference. But credit where it's due. Their respawning jeep guarantees every escort mission is now an exercise in PTSD. These guys are textbook criminals who realize there's no law. And also a jeep with a mounted 50 cal. Romeo gets capped almost immediately because he's dumb, and Juliet can still be saved, mostly because the game is trying to make you feel heroic. Their circumstances are perfectly plausible for the world's worst road trip. Antisocial, violent, high stress from prison, suddenly unleashed into apocalypse freedom. They are not insane, they're just sociopaths. In real life, escaped convicts would probably spend more time evading police and finding food than doing donuts in a park shooting civilians. But that wouldn't be nearly as fun. And, of course, they respawn forever, because Capcom enjoys your suffering and wants every escort mission to be a trial, and patience an existential dread. Capcom didn't stop there, because now we meet Adam, and Adam is special. He's a clown, with chainsaws, dual wielding, and he laughs like the world's most annoying laugh track on repeat. He went full Joker because, apparently, being surrounded by screaming children and zombies was the final straw. He's an entertainer who has snapped, turning the amusement park into his personal hell show. Dual chainsaws, maniacal laughter, and zero regard for physics. Realistically, someone like Adam would either barricade himself, sob uncontrollably, or lash out with whatever was nearby. The chainsaw choreography is only in Capcom's fever dream. Adam's insanity is symbolic. He embodies the collapse of joy and entertainment into utter chaos. Functionally, he's the most hardest boss and your first taste of why did I think going out at night was a good idea. Now, could a performer crack under trauma? Absolutely. Could he laugh manically while doing it? Sure. With dual-wielding chainsaws? No. That's Capcom saying, wouldn't it be funny if the clown was also a war criminal? Still, Adam is one of the most iconic psychos. Partly because he's unique, and partly because he keeps blocking your bullets with actual chainsaws. Beat him and you rescue Greg. Greg's great. He gives you a shortcut across the mall. He's the real hero here. Not Frank, not Brad. Anyway, as we were traipsing through the mall like some kind of caffeine-fueled action hero, rescuing damsels, putting morons to sleep, probably tripping over a Hot Topic display, Dr. Barnaby is being kidnapped by the Mexican illegal immigrant.
That can't be good. What's going on, anyway?
Before this whole thing started, someone called the professor and told him to come to this mall.
Jack the line, did you? So is this the caller, this guy here? They've got something to do with the zombies, don't they?
They're the reason we came here. And if he gets away with Dr. Barnaby, none of our questions will be answered.
Since Barnaby is apparently the only person who can explain why the mall is a hellscape of chaos and bad lighting, your job, yes, your job, is to go rescue him. And guess who's helping you? Brad. Brad's holed up at the entrance plaza, twiddling his thumbs while the Mexican guy is holding a sniper rifle. How in Uncle Sam's name did he get his hands on that? If you looked at the gun store earlier, you get to reenact the Charlie Kirk murder scenario. Corner the Mexican and he shoots Brad in the leg. Don't worry though, because Brad shoots back. He's now injured but still mostly alive. And you don't have to carry both him and Barnaby back to the security room, because that would be too much realism. Barnaby, meanwhile, is snoozing. Now Brad has a fever, which requires medicine.
Stop the bleeding.
Sure, possible, gunshot wounds can get infected, infections cause fevers, biology, but also in reality it takes hours to develop symptoms. If you're wondering, the medicine is no doubt antibiotics. Here's the fun part. Blocking your path is Steven, the grocery store guy. Steven is your classical survival-crazed mall psychopath. Territorial, aggressive, paranoid about his canned beans, and apparently believes anyone who looks at his aisle is plotting murder.
Listen good, partner. I don't allow vandalism in my store!
Stress, zombies, limited food, they amplify his already questionable sanity. Realistically, he might threaten people, barricade himself, maybe yell a lot, but the game upgrades him to homicide. In reality, Steven probably wouldn't just start murdering over cornflakes. He'd be more likely to glare at you, like you just insulted his mother while holding a rolling pin.
My store. My store. Who will run my store when I'm gone? My store. My food. My sales. My customers. Have a nice day.
Oh, and remember that Latina chick we saw at the beginning? She was held hostage by Steve after she wandered around looking for medicine.
Back in the land of the...
I wonder who for. Alright, strap in, boys, because you're about to wait. Again. The game loves making you twiddle your thumbs while psychopaths run around like caffeine-addled raccoons. But if you can't resist poking around for extra chaos, then you can pursue more side scoops. One of which is a new deranged individual.
Name and rank, soldier.
A Vietnam veteran who apparently never got over the war and decided the mall was his personal hunting ground. Armed to the teeth, twitchier than my veiny.
Keep it away from your face.
Here's the fun part. The game wants you to think PTSD turned him into a full-blown psychopath overnight. Real talk.
On YouTube.
PTSD makes people jumpy and aggressive, sure. But methodically hunting survivors is just poor drama. Still, it's freakishly satisfying.
You. Over there. Here. Take this. My granddaughter. She was done in by those damn zombies. When I heard her scream, I just lost it. Everything went white suddenly. The war. It wasn't over. Not for me. It never ended.
Cliff's a survivalist turned murder enthusiast. and the way he snaps back after Frank deck smashes him, that's actually a nice nod to acute stress reactions. Extreme stress plus near death equal temporary brain meltdown. Suddenly, you're homicidal. His tragic backstory, which is watching his granddaughter get gnomed by zombies, is the cherry on top. Then we get to the Paradise Plaza cutscene, because of course there's a cult trying to sacrifice someone.
Death itself has overflowed upon the world, defiling us all. The only path to the salvation of the soul is the purging of the tainted blood.
These guys don't really need an explanation. Just think of them like Christians in the 11th century, or Muslims in the 21st century. Next up, Joe, oh boy, Joe. A corrupt cop who's basically a living embodiment of don't trust anyone in authority.
Shameless you are, you dirty little skank. Say hello to my little friend. No, not again.
Got room for one more?
She's abusing her power, sexually predatory, violent, the list goes on.
Police business. I'll start with you before I get to her.
The apocalypse just removed all the social breaks she normally has, and now she's running wild. And yes, she's the size of Nikado avocado, but somehow sprints like a caffeine cheetah.
It hurts. The pain. I'm gonna die. Can't believe a worthless prick like you did me in.
Remember that Latina who ran away earlier? Yeah, she's back, looking for meds, and Frank, being the eternal smooth brain, decides to test his riz. Spoiler, she not only says no, she tries to bike smash him and also has a gun. Equal rights, equal fights, folks. Turns out the Mexican guy you fought earlier is her brother.
He has all the answers.
You're talking about that guy that took pot shots at us with a sniper rifle, aren't you?
Bonus points, she blames you for the zombie outbreak.
Not us.
Classic woman behavior. While you're waiting for midnight to roll around, you can do even more side scoops, like sniper fights with the whole family. Father Roger is the patriarch and basically a human sniper turret with extra range. The middle child is Jack, who is equally insane as his dad.
Stop interfering with my hunt!
And there's little Thomas, who's a wimp. He won't shoot Frank, even while his family becomes zombie food. The game actually keeps him sane, grieving like a normal human instead of turning him into another mass murder machine. If you play your cards right, the Latina shows up at midnight. Wounded, with a zombie hot on her heels because her brother shot her. Why? Yes. Look on the bright side. We learned that her brother caused the zombie outbreak.
You're looking at the bad guy's sister.
Bad guy? The one who caused all this?
That's right. Her asshole brother caused the zombie outbreak.
So you've got some downtime, because the Latina sidekick is busy recovering after her brother shot her. What do?
Time to put my fishnets on.
A normal person might skip ahead, but a real gamer, a man of culture, knows that skipping side content is the same as skipping leg day. And so we embark on a magical detour to fight yet another lunatic who somehow started a religion inside a shopping mall.
Your tainted blood to the foul earth that has spawned you.
Sean is a prophet, allegedly. He believes that the zombie outbreak is God's cleansing fire. The faithful will inherit the earth, the mall, and probably a 25% discount at Hot Topic. His followers are cultists dressed like eco-terrorists, who spend their free time kidnapping survivors and performing ritual sacrifices. In other words, they're vegan. Now, in real life, cults form during crises all the time. People want answers, stability, someone to tell them, no, you don't need therapy, you just need to oust the current government. Jim Jones did it, David Koresh did it, and now Sean's doing it, except with fewer firearms and more shouting biblical nonsense at retail employees. Honestly, believable enough, what's less believable is that he did it in days. Cults usually take years to form. Sean built one in the time it takes me to install a Windows update.
I beseech thee!
The game calls him a psychopath, but clinically he's more guy screaming about lizard people at a bus stop. He's delusional, narcissistic, paranoid, and, most importantly, loud. Still, beating him gives you a special book that makes escorting survivors easier. Ironically, useless, since there aren't many survivors left to escort, unless you count the 5 losers hiding in the cinema. Fun fact, one of them is into Frank. If only real women were that forward with me. But alas, in modern times, romance is banned. Every protagonist must now be a pansexual wheelchair-bound space furry with a tragic backstory about how men are bad. Anyway, plot. Remember Santa Cabeza? No? Good, because the game doesn't explain it very well either. It's the magical Mexican town where the zombie plague began, thanks to a US research project involving wasps. Yes, wasps, inside zombie brains. Drop one, and it's like a biological nuke for zombies.
What in the hell is going on around here?
Which sounds cool until you realize there's no reason whatsoever for the United States to do bioengineering research in Mexico. But who cares? Dr. Barnaby was in charge, and now he's turning into a zombie. Speaking of unstable people, let's talk about Paul. He's a pyromaniac. His favorite hobby is throwing Molotovs at innocent people. His backstory is classic. Bullied, insecure, probably couldn't get a girlfriend, so instead of therapy he chose arson. Relatable. His boss fight is hilarious. He taunts you, sets himself on fire by accident, and if you save him, he cries like a child. Clinically, he's basically the poster child for pyromania. Pretty realistic, honestly. But no, in real life he wouldn't stand in the middle of the fire giggling. He'd light it and run away like a coward. Last but not least, Kent. I didn't mention him earlier because he's not mentally ill. He's just a photographer with an ego problem. Basically Frank, but worse at it. When you beat him, he throws a tantrum and tries to kill you. Probably suffering from narcissism, grandiose delusion, and being French. Honestly, most narcissists don't escalate to murder in real life, but hey, it's a hard boss fight, so I'll allow it.
Do it, Frank. Take my picture. It'll look great on your mantle.
Remember Carlito? Turns out he is not content to be a small arsonist or mid-tier antagonist. No, he's gone full Taliban terrorist. He plans time charges all through the underground parking lot. Because why just ruin a mall when you can doom humanity? This mission is peak. The only way to stop global biological catastrophe is to drive a car. Meanwhile, Carlito is not politely waiting for you to roll credits. No, he's in full kamikaze protester mode, driving around the parking lot and throwing live grenades. Where does he get military-grade explosives and weaponry during an apocalypse? The game hopes you don't ask logistics questions. Realistic answers include looted an armory, had cartel connections, used Mexican magic to summon them.
I can't keep watching this. I can't keep watching this. I can't.
So you drive. Zombies pile up like the worst traffic jam in history. You plow through them because that's how Frank solves crowd control. And Carlito keeps trying to blow you up with grenades. There's an epic explosion at the end. Oh, and also Brad dies.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine.
Good news, Carlito has a computer.
I'm sure there's plenty of information on it.
Bad news, it's password protected. Naturally, the Latina chick is now the chosen one, sitting there like a raccoon on drugs, trying every possible combo. Meanwhile, Frank is staring at the security feed, waiting for Carlito to show up. And of course, he does.
I think it's Carlito.
Like clockwork, along with a new friend, a butcher. Yes, a butcher, who sees Carlito and goes, "Ah yes, premium sirloin." Larry doesn't see a terrorist, no. Larry sees meat, delicious tender human meat. This is classic dehumanization 101, extreme offender edition. Real life cannibals do this all the time. Strip the person of humanity, call them a chunk of meat, and suddenly your soul is optional. Larry even tries to pitch Carlito to Frank, like he's on Shark Tank. Invest in a man today, eat him tomorrow. That's not crazy. That's peak instrumental aggression. He's using murder as a business strategy. Empathy? Never heard of her. Meanwhile, poor Carlito is basically a human pincushion. Shot, tortured, and somehow still flailing around. Realistically, he's bleeding out. But dead rising physics are not kind to biology nerds. That blood at his mouth is scientifically cringe, unless his lungs got rearranged by an angry blender.
Men only want one thing, and it's not money, it's not power, it's not love.
Before going full fade to black, Carlito hands Frank a locket for his sister, the Latina chick. Okay, so obviously the locket from Carlito is not just a shiny trinket. It's basically the key to the entire universe of his computer. Or at least the universe of passwords. Which is a single word I am absolutely not gonna try to pronounce because, let's be honest here, half the time the devs just throw a Scrabble bag at the screen and hope for the best. Anyway, Americans show up because, of course, Americans are now en route to rescue.
Hang on.
Homeland Security.
This is Agent Jessica McCarney. We have an emergency situation.
Meanwhile, Jesse, who got mauled by Dr. Barnaby earlier, is infected and decides that your spine looks delicious.
She is such a bad
which means you have exactly two options. End her suffering, or let her do a full-on WWE SmackDown on you. Now Frank, the guy who's basically a human panic button, decides he's had enough of the zombie apocalypse. Unfortunately, this leaves you with a lot of downtime. No side scoops left? Time to fast forward. Just remember, at midnight, Delta Force is storming the mall, killing everything that moves, including you and any other survivors. Yes, the government apparently doesn't care about American lives, and yes, massacring your own citizens would cause slightly more than a mild political backlash.
I'll be damned. He's still alive.
Since this is Dead Rising, Frank's helicopter ride is immediately compromised by a zombie who somehow snuck in. Frank collapses in pure existential horror, but is rescued by the Latina chick. She announces he's infected, which is bad.
No shit.
The zombie virus is a nasty little cocktail. Part rabies, part parasitic wasp, part how do I even exist in this universe?
Is the word I'd use.
Biologically, this would require a virus that hijacks your central nervous system, muscle control, metabolism, and social life all at once. Oh, and Dead Rising throws in a parasitic wasp element because the writers were like, why not? Nature is terrifying anyway. And I agree, because there's things out there terrifyingly close to the Dead Rising virus, such as cordyceps fungi, turning ants into zombie elevators, flatworms, turning snail eyes into neon eat me signs, parasitic wasps forcing hosts into nursery duties, but for humans, that's useless. Think of our immune systems like Batman. Need I elaborate?
Are you ready, Jack?
Yes, I am.
Oh.
And it's been hard. It's been hard for me ever since, my cat died. I've been out here just trying to mosey my way through Gotham.
You parked over the line.
So, how did Frank get infected? Minor contact, probably. A scratch, a bite he didn't notice, zombie drool on Reese's peanut butter cups. Pick your poison. But don't worry, gaming time resumes. Latina chick has a plan. Synthesize an antiviral, which requires you, Frank, to fetch stuff from the mall, while the military tries to shoot your face off. Oh, and Frank's on a 24-hour zombie timer, because ticking clocks are fun. Luckily, you can murder every soldier on site using their own guns, because game balance. Some players complain about the fetch quests and annoying soldiers, but that's just life as a long-suffering gamer. Tedious, frustrating, slightly brain-melting, yet undeniably satisfying. So you've done the mall shopping spree, collected everything on the list, and then, plot twist, Carlito, the dead terrorist guy, apparently had a master plan from beyond the grave. And that plan is to infect 30 orphan children and scatter them across the country. Because revenge is apparently an Olympic sport now. Mexico borders the United States, my friend, which means zombies don't respect borders, paperwork, or even small talk. Congratulations, the stakes are now global pandemic. Luckily, the helicopter that was supposed to rescue Frank earlier crashed conveniently at the clock tower, which reveals a secret tunnel. There's one tiny snag. The tunnel is jam-packed with zombies. Naturally, what's the solution? Latina girl develops a hormone that smells so bad zombies run away, which is scientifically questionable at best. But let's roll with it.
Deodorant. Everybody on the ground!
Frank, for the first time in his life, wears perfume, which is a personal character growth moment and also somehow lets them stroll through zombie hordes, steal a jeep, and promptly get obliterated by a tank. In most cases, this would roll the credits, but the game isn't done yet. we still have the final boss, which is basically testosterone versus testosterone. Bare fists only. No healing items, no weapons, just raw primal rage and probably a lot of screaming. Personally, I hate this boss fight. But hey, that's life. You win, Frank screams. Latina girl probably becomes zombie lunch, and somehow Frank escapes to tell his tale. To who? The news? A confused cat? The aftermath is a government apology, and that's it. The moral? And yet he complained that his belly was not full. Honestly, this game is not better than the original. Want the experience? Buy the original. Save $30. Meanwhile, I am rigorously training to become an exemplary husband.